oath of office, announcing the House will begin a formal impeachment inquiry of President Trump. After months of caution, the Speaker telling the American people why. It comes after allegations the president pressured a foreign leader to investigate one of his political opponents, Joe Biden, while the Trump administration held hundreds of millions in U.S. aid. Tonight, the Speaker saying the president has seriously violated the Constitution. Mary Bruce, live on the Hill. Tonight, President Trump calling this a witch hunt, saying the transcript of that call with Ukraine's new president will be made public tomorrow, saying that call was, quote, perfect. And tonight, we have news of a phone call between President Trump and Nancy Pelosi. John Carl standing by. The other major news this Tuesday night, the tropical storm slamming Puerto Rico at this hour at the new track. Will this affect the East Coast? The stunning images in court today from that night, the Dallas police officer who claims she was tired and confused when she entered the wrong apartment and killed the man she thought was an intruder. It was his apartment. Tonight, the 40-foot narco sub intercepted by the U.S. Coast Guard, trying to sneak into the U.S. What was found inside? And the horrific helicopter crash on New York City's East River. And tonight here, the transcripts. What the passengers in their final seconds said. One passenger trapped in a harness asking, "How do I cut this?"
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. And we begin tonight with the very rare and historic move in Washington late today. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, after months of urging caution, telling fellow Democrats to follow the facts, she was before the cameras a short time ago saying President Trump has, quote, seriously violated the Constitution. Speaker Pelosi saying no one is above the law, announcing an official impeachment inquiry will now move forward. It comes after the president acknowledged he brought up Joe Biden on a phone call with Ukraine's new president, and just today talking about why hundreds of millions of dollars in U.S. military aid to Ukraine was being held back. So tonight here, what comes next? What has Speaker Pelosi now set into motion after declaring the president must be held accountable? And this evening, the president calling this a witch hunt, what he says he will now release. ABC's Mary Bruce leads us off from the Hill tonight.
She's resisted for months, but tonight Speaker Nancy Pelosi finally made her move.
The times have found us today. I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry.
It comes just days after the president acknowledged he had asked the president of Ukraine to investigate his political rival Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Today, the president admitted that days before the conversation, he ordered his chief of staff to halt nearly $400 million in foreign aid to Ukraine. But he insists holding that money was not an attempt to pressure the Ukrainian president.
And there was never any quid pro quo.
But the president has offered shifting reasons for why he stopped those payments. Just 24 hours ago, he said he withheld the money because he wanted to get Ukraine to address corruption.
Why would you give money to a country that you think is corrupt?
But today, he said he withheld those hundreds of millions for a different reason.
I want other countries to put up money. I think it's unfair that we put up the money. Then people called me, they said, oh, let it go, and I let it go. But we paid the money. The money was paid.
There is no evidence Joe Biden or his son acted improperly with regard to Ukraine. Today, the candidate fired back at President Trump.
But if we allow a president to get away with shredding the United States Constitution, that will last forever.
While the president was at the UN,
more Democrats are supporting impeachment.
What is your reaction to that?
Are you concerned?
Capitol Hill was a flurry of activity. In the past 24 hours, a wave of Democrats declaring now is the time to impeach.
We cannot delay. We must not wait.
And in front of a packed crowd, Nancy Pelosi was asked if the president had committed impeachable offenses and gave a hint of what she was about to do.
And if that is the case, that the President of the United States would ask a foreign government to assist him in a political way, that would be wrong.
Would it be impeachable?
Just a few hours later, Pelosi made her position crystal clear.
The actions of the Trump presidency revealed the dishonorable fact of the president's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections.
And so let's get to Mary Bruce live with us from the Hill tonight. And Mary, Speaker Pelosi has resisted calls for impeachment for months. You have reported on this, but she says the president's actions involving this phone call with Ukraine's new president, bringing up Joe Biden, holding hundreds of millions in U.S. aid, all of this, she said, made it unavoidable today?
David, Pelosi made very clear the tipping point here was the president's admission that he talked to a foreign leader about investigating his political rival. That is what broke the dam here for Pelosi and scores of other Democrats. Tonight, at least 181 members, more than 2/3 of House Democrats, now say it is time to impeach. David.
Mary Bruce leading us off. And Mary, as you know, tonight, President Trump dismissing the investigation, calling it another witch hunt, saying he will release the transcript of that phone call with the president of Ukraine tomorrow, calling the phone call perfect. But it's more than just that call. Will Congress see the whistleblower's complaint that triggered all of this? And tonight, news of a phone call between President Trump and Speaker Pelosi just today. ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl with what he's learned tonight.
Today, President Trump announced he will release the full and unredacted transcript of his phone call with the president of Ukraine, saying it will prove he did nothing wrong.
When you see the call, when you see the readout of the call, which I assume you'll see at some point, you'll understand. That call was perfect. There was no pressure put on them whatsoever.
But Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi has made it clear she wants more. She wants the president to release the full whistleblower complaint that the intelligence community's inspector general said was credible and of urgent concern. Speaker Pelosi revealed the president actually called her this morning.
Yeah, well, he called to talk about gun violence, and then it segued into other things.
Can you give us an indication of what those other things are?
Not right now.
A Democratic source tells ABC News the president told Speaker Pelosi he had nothing to do with the decision of his own administration to block Congress from seeing the whistleblower complaint. Pelosi responded, then undo it. The president is sounding off on the Ukraine controversy with an echo of what he said over and over again about the special counsel investigation.
I think it's ridiculous. It's a witch hunt.
As for the prospect of impeachment,
they're going to lose the election, and they figure this is a thing to do. This never happened where we're in the election. And, I mean, if she does that, they all say that's a positive for me from the election.
John Karl with us here in New York because the president has been at the UN here in New York City as well. And we know the president promising to release that transcript tomorrow, but Speaker Pelosi wants the whistleblower's complaint. And in a rare move late today, Senate Republicans, John, said they want this too.
In fact, David, the entire Senate voted 100-0 to call on the Trump administration to turn that whistleblower complaint over to the intelligence committees. And in another twist today, House Intelligence Chairman Adam Schiff says that he has been contacted by a lawyer for the whistleblower. The whistleblower wants to appear before Congress.
The whistleblower now wants to come forward.
Could happen as soon as next week.
All right, stay tuned on that front as well, John. Thank you. And all of you at home know this official impeachment inquiry is a very rare move, and the decision does not mean the House will ultimately vote to charge the president with high crimes and misdemeanors. So let's bring in ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran. He's live in Washington. He covered the last impeachment involving Bill Clinton. And Terry, still so many unknowns here, but take us through this. What happens next?
Well, David, this is a historic day, no doubt about it. The momentous step by Speaker Pelosi, but we're a long way from any kind of vote to impeach President Trump or remove him from office. Here's how it will go down. Facts and evidence. Speaker Pelosi has instructed the 6 committees that are already investigating President Trump to, quote, proceed under that umbrella of an impeachment inquiry. Depending on the facts and evidence they develop, articles of impeachment could be drafted then on bribery or high crimes and misdemeanor, that sort of thing, and then perhaps voted on. As I say, we're a long way from that. This is a momentous step. But it's clear that Nancy Pelosi would not have taken it were she not prepared to take that step. She does know one thing, however. Any impeachment requires the support of the American public in a very big way, and she's proceeding cautiously because of that. David?
All right, Terry Moran, John Karl, Mary Bruce, our thanks to all of you tonight. In the meantime, the other news this Tuesday evening and the weather, the tornado watch in 4 states at this hour, and Tropical Storm Karen now battering Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands as we're on the air tonight. And Karen is just one of 4 tropical systems churning in the Atlantic Basin right now. Will any of them reach the eastern coast? ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Zee is tracking it all for us again tonight. Ginger?
David, let's start with that tornado watch. There are several cells that are already entering an environment that could cause them to spin. That's why we've seen tornado warnings already in Iowa, southern Minnesota, including Rochester, parts of Wisconsin. Until midnight tonight, you have this threat. Damaging winds in excess of 70 miles per hour could stretch all the way to Kansas. You could see 3-inch wide diameter hail. Let's look at those tropical storms, though. Karen, the one you mentioned, already dropped 3 inches of rain in Puerto Rico. It is passing over the east side of that island right now, lashing parts of the Virgin Islands with some of those outer bands. It'll move north. Now, it starts to stall over open ocean water, so we like to see that rather than being over land. But one of the models tries to take it back toward us by the next midweek. We've got a lot of time, David, before that has to be in the forecast, but you know we'll be following it.
All right, you will. Ginger Z, our thanks to you again this evening. In the meantime, the dramatic body cam video of that trial of a former Dallas police officer. She's charged with murder in the shooting death of her neighbor. She says she entered his apartment, mistaking the apartment for her own. The video showing officers rushing to the scene, running through the hall to the victim's apartment. The officer who fired her weapon was right there. ABC's Marcus Moore inside the courtroom today.
Tonight, for the first time, we are seeing the chaos and confusion from multiple viewpoints the night Dallas police responded to Amber Guyger's frantic 911 call. She had just shot and killed 26-year-old Botham Jean inside his own home. The powerful and sometimes graphic images show the desperate race to reach the 4th floor and that sprint down a long hallway where they encounter their now former colleague. Several officers taking turns performing CPR on Jean. And prosecutors highlighting this video to suggest Guyger received preferential treatment, not isolated initially, and here seen hugging a fellow officer. Even allowed to sit in a patrol car looking at her phone while Jean was rushed to the hospital. Guyger claims after an almost 14-hour workday, she mistakenly went to the wrong floor of her apartment building. When she walked into what she thought was her home and saw someone inside, she assumed it was an intruder and opened fire. But today, prosecutors pressed one responding officer about the protocol when an officer believes that a burglary is in progress.
What do you do?
You cover and concealment.
Is that because of the sanctity of human life?
Yes, sir.
And David, investigators spent the second day of this trial really trying to portray Guyger as reckless. They called several witnesses to the stand who testified they heard 2 gunshots, but never heard verbal commands. And David, as you know, this case may very well hinge on whether the jurors believe Guyger feared for her life when she walked through that door. David?
All right, Marcus Moore live in Dallas tonight. Marcus, thank you. We do have newly released images tonight of a massive drug bust at sea, a narco sub trying to get to the U.S. The Coast Guard reporting they have intercepted the sub in the Pacific Ocean, finding more than 12,000 pounds of cocaine on board worth $165 million. ABC's Will Carr on the several arrests tonight.
The Coast Guard busted that 40-foot narco sub trying to sneak into the United States under the cloak of darkness.
Hey, we need to get him over on a boat.
Inside, 12,000 pounds of cocaine packed in those tightly wrapped bales worth more than $165 million. Authorities, with the help of the Colombian Navy, arrested 4 drug smugglers in the process. Earlier this year, the Coast Guard made this daring bust in the Eastern Pacific. With the waves thrashing, one Coast Guard member dressed in tactical gear boarded the vessel in the open seas, pounding the hatch, discovering in excess of 17,000 pounds of cocaine worth an estimated $232 million. So far this year, Homeland Security has seized more than $4 billion of cocaine and other drugs heading into the United States. David.
Will Carr tonight. Thank you, Will. Next this evening, new revelations after that horrific helicopter crash here in New York City on the East River. 5 passengers died unable to free themselves from their seatbelts, and a camera captured the moment that chopper went down in the East River. You'll remember that. Well, tonight, investigators have now released a transcript from a GoPro on board, revealing the desperate struggle in those final seconds to get free. Here's Lindsay Davis.
Tonight, new details about the final frantic moments of this sightseeing helicopter crash in New York's East River in March of last year, killing 5 passengers on board.
Zerly Motel, mayday, mayday, mayday. Zerly Motel, are you okay? River, engine failure.
Based on NTSB transcripts, we're learning tonight just 13 seconds before the helicopter was completely submerged, one passenger asked out loud, "How do I cut this expletive?" As passengers struggled to get out of their harnesses, only the pilot, wearing just a seatbelt, managed to free himself and survived. As the helicopter's inflated left float hit the East River, that same passenger simply said, "Whoa." These new images show the inside of the helicopter from a GoPro, the pilot telling investigators the right float failed to inflate properly, slamming it to the side. He says one of the passenger's safety harness tether got